Hey everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Snap Decks of the Week, the weekly series where I showcase the top 10 best decks in Marvel Snap. These decks have been determined using a variety of different sources to ensure you're getting the most reliable statistics available. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Don't worry, I'll never forget to slide in. Let's get started with the decks of the week. We're starting with a bonus deck for the weekend missions because it ain't no way that Hercules is going to be in the top 10. Absolute trash tier card, and if you picked up Hercules by accident and you're looking to get your tokens, this is currently one of the better decks to use. Now I use the word better very intentionally because there's no best deck for Hercules. They're all terrible. He's generally hovering under a 50% win rate, so you don't want to play him on ladder. You're going to take this into proving grounds, win the games you need, and then never play it again. But regardless, this is one of the better Hercules decks if you're looking to get those quick tokens and get right on out. But if you're looking to actually win some cubes and get some ranks, then we'll start with our actual top 10, which includes Black Knight at number 10. Now, the win rate has come down. These statistics are using infinite, and at a 52% win rate and a 0.25 cube rate, there's been a major drop-off on Black Knight. I think because a lot of people now are getting very used to that play pattern, people are able to kind of figure out when to retreat against a Black Knight player, whereas when it was kind of first bursting onto the scene over the last couple weeks after the buffs, people were kind of being taken by surprise, and I think that surprise has now faded, and now the statistics of Black Knight are dropping. Still a good deck, a lot of fun to play, but ultimately not going to be one of the absolute top tier contenders. We have some better decks out there, and a lot of which feature Lockjaw, believe it or not. We get into number 9. Now, I love this deck. It's C3. C3 is making a major comeback. Now, there's a lot of cards here I absolutely love. I'm a huge Valkyrie fan. Mobius and Mobius are very good against Scar and other kind of energy cheat type of kind of gameplay decks, specifically those that have Sarah in it, which is getting increasingly popular. However, what I will say, though, is that what you'll notice is that you have a 52% win rate, which feels low for a top 10, and it is, but you also have a 40 cube rate. You have a very high cube rate, and this is a very strong deck for stealing cubes from people, especially if they underestimate how much power you're able to put up. I mean, Mystique, Cerebro, Valkyrie, Iron Man, like those three cards with Valkyrie on top, completely swings a location, right? So I really like what this deck does here, and of course the Wasp is a great target to get hit by the Bast and then get played down for free in conjunction with something like your pretty much anything. You can play Wasp wherever you want, but even if you don't hit it with the Bast, you play Wasp and you play Valkyrie together, and Wasp becomes a 0-3. Valkyrie takes down their the opposition cards, and you go home happy, right? So a very fun deck. Take some piloting practice, right? But C3 is back. Getting into number 8, we have Annie by Night. A Nihilist doing pretty well, but you have a win rate of 54% and a cube rate modest at 0.21. The current version of a Nihilist is running the Werewolf by Night with the bounce-based shell of Beast and others. Ultimately, very disruptive. However, the win rate is somewhat lacking. You're looking at the changes to Werewolf by Night having a very negative impact on Annie, and ultimately I think that a Nihilist will find a better deck eventually, despite the fact it's dropped from a 5.7 to a 5.6. Thankfully, it wasn't all the way to a 5.5 because this win rate would have been even lower. But at number 8, we do have a Nihilist by Night. As we get into number 7, hit the like button if you'd like to support my content. I genuinely appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Over half of the people that watch these videos are actually not subscribed. I'm not sure why, but I will tell you that I'm 100% sure why. Galactus's cube rate is through the roof. At a 53% win rate, Galactus ramp is not taking the win rate charts by storm, but has a 0.64 cube rate. And I think what's happening here is a couple different things. One, people are not seeing much Galactus anymore, so you take people by surprise. 2, no one expects Orca ever. And 3, Alioth has fallen out of a lot of people's memory banks, and Alioth is stealing cubes from people as well. The cube rate is absolutely insane on this deck, because I think that there are so many ways to catch people by surprise on turn 6. Galactus, not always. If you see the Hobgoblin, you probably kind of see it coming. Orca always takes people by surprise, and hell, I don't know why Alioth is still taking people by surprise. So an excessively high cube rate, if not the highest cube rate we'll be talking about in this top 10, goes to Galactus ramp. And then we go to number 6. Number 6 is the first of a couple a couple Thanos shells we'll be talking about. And this version happens to be the ongoing Thanos shell. Man, I barely got those words out. It's late. But what I will say here is that I do like the addition of Ghost. This is pretty fun. Ghost with Valkyrie. It's a really interesting list. You do have Mobius and Mobius, a lot of ongoing cards, which Blob is, of course, too, which allows you to utilize Spectrum. Now, the advantage of Ghost here is that Ghost is just an inexpensive ongoing card you can play. And what I really like here is that you have a bunch of ongoing cards that really like to take advantage of the fact that, you're just going to hopefully, with all the stones you play down, all the buffing coming from Blue Marvel, Khazar, and of course, Kyera, keeping those stones alive, Spectrum just hits so many targets. The Power Stone, the Soul Stone, and pretty much everything on this board except for Nico, of course. But what I will say though, a very strong deck at a 0.42 cube rate, 54% win rate. It's doing work. Ongoing Thanos, a pretty interesting deck in the current meta. And then we go to number 5. We have Kingpin. Kingpin, a 55% win rate, a 0.21 cube rate. We've seen a couple 2-1 cube rates here. Kind of mediocre cube rate, decent win rate here. But again, we're trying to figure out what the best decks for Kingpin are. Now, not right now, you're not seeing a whole lot of move. Maybe on the first day you did because Hercules was being tested and everyone determined Hercules was hot trash. So now no one's playing Hercules. So now you're actually just straight up going against people. So you're trying to force people into the Kingpin location. So it's not like a natural, you're not just countering Silky Smooth because Silky Smooth isn't even that popular right now. But Kingpin would be perfect in that type of mirror match. So what you ultimately have here is a deck that's designed to just try to make Kingpin get as much value as you can, move something over with Spider-Man, pull something with the Polaris, whatever. Maybe you do some Arrow and Magneto gameplay as well, but ultimately Kingpin's location is probably going to get full. So at the end of the day, a very interesting deck, one that I still think is getting ironed out. It's seeing a lot of experimentation right now, and this is currently the highest win rate version of Kingpin if you're looking to take advantage of that newly buffed card. As we go to number 4. Number 4 is Debuff Evolutionary. Once again, a 0.21 cube rate deck at a 57% win rate. Now, this makes sense. I think that this deck is strong. I do like it. I've always loved the Spider-Woman splash in these types of lists. What you'll note here is that this particular deck is not running Magic. Now, this is a very interesting take, and I want to include it here because this current version of Debuff Evo not running Magic is actually holding a bit of a higher win rate. It's running Enchantress, it's running the Thing, Spider-Woman. There's a lot more of an interesting take on the archetype, and so I wanted to showcase it. This is not running Kyera, it's not running Nebula, so it's a bit of a different style deck. If you're looking to make a kind of, I don't know, you want to play high evo, but you don't want to do the one that we've been talking about over and over again, this is actually a decent performer in the current meta, a little bit of a shake-up on the way it's played, and actually it's kind of cheaper because you're playing cards like Scorpion, Spider-Woman, Thing. These are cards you have, so pretty damn good, I think, right? So if you're looking to get some high evo action, currently number 4 is Debuff Evo. Destroy. Now this is interesting. Destroy has a couple archetypes that are starting to climb up in the ranks, and 54% win rate, a 0.40 cube rate. What's notable about this is the version of this deck currently runs Taskmaster. So the Deadpool Taskmaster play, the Venom Taskmaster play, obviously Deadpool and Taskmaster can be played in conjunction with one another on turn 6. You can also play Death and Taskmaster if you want, but the key thing here is that the Taskmaster version actually has a 1.5% higher win rate than the non-Taskmaster version. So things are changing around a little bit here. So this is currently the higher win rate version of the deck, a very strong cube rate. And I mean, if you want to take Taskmaster out, you can, but currently, statistically, the Taskmaster version of Destroy is outperforming. And then you have like the Arnim Zola version, it's actually 2% lower in win rate, but still good at 55% in general. But Destroy as an archetype, this is currently the leader of the pack. And then we go to Lockdown. A very strong deck, 58% win rate, a 0.48 cube rate, and this has not changed all that much. It's really interesting to see that we have the Storm, we have Medusa. I actually prefer to cut Medusa in this deck and add Quake. I think it's better, but the statistics actually back up this version, which is kind of funny. I think Quake is like literally one of the best cards in the game right now. Regardless though, I'd love to see Jessica Jones getting some gameplay here. Vision, Alliance, people are forgetting about it. And of course, you're still running Miss Marvel with Doctor Doom. The package does work together to ensure you're getting those 6 drops into the Miss Marvel locations to generate some value for the card, because now you need to have 2 unique cost cards and the Doom bots are 6 power. So ultimately, Lockdown is still a very strong archetype, not running Professor X anymore, but instead running Vision to give you some viability and some added kind of opportunity to make that Miss Marvel right. Number 1 deck of the week It's Thanos. Now, there's a couple things going on with Thanos here, and I want to kind of explain. Thanos has two shells that are currently running at the top of the meta. This is the statistical best version at 60% win rate and a 0.48 cube rate. However, there's a very popular version that's getting more play. It's running about a 3% lower win rate. You cut Psylocke, you add Leech. The Leech version is actually pretty damn annoying, especially for anybody looking to do any combo plays on turn 6. So Leech is making a major comeback in these Thanos-based shells, but statistically, it's weaker than what we're seeing here. Regardless, though, if you are interested in playing the more popular version of Thanos, you take out Psylocke, you add Leech. But this here is statistically the highest win rate version of Thanos and absolutely one of the best decks in the current meta. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on that next Marvel Snap video.